There he is. Very It's embarrassing.
Yeah.
Totally, totally.
Mr. B flat.
We had a compost crisis.
Everybody have one?
Freedom is coming, freedom is coming, freedom is coming, oh yes I know. Freedom is coming, freedom is coming, freedom is coming, oh yes I know. Freedom is coming, freedom is coming, freedom is coming, oh yes I know. Freedom is coming, freedom is coming, freedom is coming, oh yes I know. Freedom is coming, freedom is coming, freedom is coming, oh yes I know. Oh yes I know, oh yes I know, oh yes I know, oh yes I know.
Good morning and welcome to the UU Fellowship of Charlotte County, Florida. And wasn't that just amazing? This choir and always innovating and coming up with something new and bringing the energy, even though it's a dreary, rainy morning here in Florida. So you guys just knocked that out of the park, I have to tell you. And I was sitting behind you and it was that good. So this morning, our talk is with the Rev Ann Barker, and she will be talking to us about 21st century justice from a 20th century perspective. So a few little housekeeping things today. We ask that we put our phones on silent or meditate mode or turn them off during the service to minimize disruptions. I want to thank everybody that makes this service possible. And as you see, a lot of work goes into the final product. And that goes for our tech people, our musicians, our choir, our groundskeepers, our board, our leadership, everybody that's coming in here and literally keeping the lights on and getting us ready. Whomever you are welcome here. Whatever your spirituality, you are welcome here. Whomever you love, you are welcome here. If you're looking for a church where we embrace the changing landscape of life, you may have found your home. We welcome you here in the chapel or online, wherever you may be. This morning, I welcome anybody that would like to, that's a first-time visitor or a returning member, to stand up and introduce yourself, should you feel comfortable. And Doug's coming around with the mic for anybody that wants to introduce themselves.
Hello, I'm Tom Tyre. This is my partner, Andy Latore. We used to live near here and were frequently here, and we used to have a lot of fun singing together, and so it's been a really nice reunion seeing everybody. Thank you so much.
Up front.
Doug. You can't forget Mary Holly.
Thank you, Mary.
I just want to say good morning. It's good to be back. I'm here for a month, and I look forward to checking in with everybody. Great to see you.
We will start with some welcoming words this morning, which are entitled The Answer by Robinson Jeffers. Then what is the answer? Not to be deluded by dreams. To know that great civilizations have broken down into violence and their tyrants come many times before. When open violence appears, to avoid it with honor or choose the least ugly faction, these evils are essential. To keep one's own integrity, be merciful and uncorrupted, and not wish for evil, and not be duped by dreams of universal justice or happiness. These dreams will not be fulfilled. To know this, and to know that however ugly the parts appear, the whole remains beautiful. A severed hand is an ugly thing, and the man dissevered from the earth and stars and his history, for contemplation or in fact, often appears atrociously ugly. Integrity is wholeness. The greatest beauty is organic wholeness, the wholeness of life and things, the divine beauty of the universe. Love that, not man. Apart from that, or else you will share man's pitiful confusions or drown in despair when his days darken. And now for our prelude with Ryan Smith. our chalice lighting today, we did things a little bit differently. If ever there were a time in the darkness, this would be it. Using a spark of hope, kindle the flame of love, ignite the light of peace, and feed the flame of justice. Of course, love is the spirit of this fellowship, and service is its law. This is our aspiration, to dwell together in peace, to seek the truth in love, and to help one another. Please join us in singing number 1017, Building a New Way. This morning, okay, I just had the mic in the wrong spot. Sorry, guys. This morning, we are actually very lucky to be doing a new member introduction, which is on your order of service now. There is the words for the new member introduction printed on the back under new member recognition for everybody to follow along. And I will welcome our chairperson up to welcome our new member. Hold it till it turns green.
Okay. Is that better? Okay, so Alex, will you join us, please? This is Alec Pritchard. Okay. And his part is small. Dennis and I do most of the work this morning. Okay. So it is a joy to welcome you as a member in our community. Becoming a member of this congregation is an important step, but is only a first step. I encourage you to grow your spiritual life and to explore and share your unique gifts as you grow with us. Alex, will you journey together with us, sharing the joys and responsibilities as a member of the Unitarian Universalist Fellowship of Charlotte County? If you agree, will you say, "I will"?
I will.
Members of the congregation, will you reach out to Alex and include him in all of our activities and fellowship? Will you walk with him on his spiritual and personal journey? Will you be open to his unique gifts and life perspectives? And will you extend a warm welcome to him, remembering that you were once new here yourselves? If you will, say, "I will."
I will.
So Alex, we all join our strengths, talents, and commitment with yours. You are now officially a part of our community. He signed the book earlier, and we are part of your journey. Keep in mind that ours is a shared endeavor to help each other find meaning in life and to build a just and compassionate world, working to fulfill the vision and mission of this fellowship. Thank you. And these are for you.
Welcome. I went a little out of order. I apologize, folks. I do have one reading before we do the Book of Life and Dropping of Stones. And our opening reading today is called Crime and Punishment, Chapter 12, by Khalil Gibran. Then one of the judges of the city stood forth and said, "Speak to us of crime and punishment." And he answered, saying, "It is when your spirit goes wandering upon the wind, that you, alone and unguarded, commit a wrong unto others, and therefore unto yourself. And that for that wrong committed you must knock and wait a while unheeded at the gate of the blessed. Like the ocean is your God self, it remains forever undefiled. And like the ether it lifts but the winged. Even like the sun is your God self. It knows not the ways of the mole, nor seeks the holes of the serpent. But your God self does not dwell alone in your being. Much in you is still man, and much in you is not yet man, but a shapeless pygmy that walks asleep in the mist, searching for its own awakening. And of the man in you would I now speak, for it is he, and not your God self, nor the pygmy in the mist that knows crime and the punishment of crime. Oftentimes I have heard you speak of one who commits a wrong as though he were not one of you, but a stranger unto you and an intruder upon your world. But I say that even as the holy and the righteous cannot rise beyond the highest which is in each one of you, so the wicked and the weak cannot fall lower than the lowest which is in you also. And as a single leaf turns not yellow, but with the silent knowledge of the whole tree, so the wrongdoer cannot do wrong without the hidden will of you all. Like a procession, you walk together towards your God self. You are the way and the wayfarers. And when one of you falls down, he falls for those behind him, a caution against the stumbling stone. Aye, and he falls for those ahead of him, who though faster and surer of foot, yet removed not the stumbling stone. And this also, though the word lie heavy upon your hearts, the murdered is not accountable for his own murder, and the robbed is not blameless in being robbed. The righteous is not innocent of the deeds of the wicked, and the white-handed is not clean in the doings of the felon. Yea, the guilty is oftentimes the victim of the injured, and still more often the condemned is the burden bearer for the guiltless and unblamed. You cannot separate the just from the unjust and the good from the wicked, for they stand together before the face of the sun, even as the black thread and white are woven together. And when the black thread breaks, the weaver shall look into the whole cloth, and he shall examine the loom also. If any of you would bring judgment the unfaithful wife, let him also weight the heart of her husband in scales, and measure his soul with measurements. And let him who would lash the offender look unto the spirit of the offended. And if any of you would punish in the name of righteousness and lay the axe unto the evil tree, let him see to its roots. And verily he will find the roots of the good and the bad, the fruitful and the fruitless, all entwined together in the silent heart of the earth. And you who judges would be just. What judgment pronounce you upon him who, though honest in the flesh, yet is a thief in spirit? What penalty lay you upon him who slays in the flesh, yet is himself slain in the spirit? And how you prosecute you him who in action is a deceiver and an oppressor, yet who is also aggrieved and outraged? And how shall you punish those whose remorse is already greater than their misdeeds? It is not remorse, the justice which is administered by the law, which you would fain serve. Yet you cannot lay remorse upon the innocent, nor lift it from the heart of the guilty. Unbidden shall it call in the night, that men may wake and gaze upon themselves. And you who would understand justice, how shall you, unless you look upon all deeds in the fullness of light? Only then shall you know that the erect and the fallen are but one man, standing in the twilight between the night of his pygmy self and the day of his God self. And in that cornerstone of the temple is not higher than the lowest stone in its foundation. And I apologize that that was a little bit long, but I found that to be a very amazing reading when I looked it up. So I just had to share that with you guys. We will be doing our time-honored tradition of the Book of Life now. I did get the book ahead of time, a little too far ahead of time actually. And I got several entries, and then I got an email entry as well. After that, we will drop stones. And so my first Book of Life entry came via email from Janet. And she sent that in on February 17th to let us know that she spent about 12 hours in the ER with her husband, who is now admitted in the hospital. So if we can all keep a thought and prayer for Janet's husband as he goes through this situation that he is in. I am confident that he will prevail because he's too stubborn to do anything else. And so our thoughts are with Rocky, and if you're watching, we're making sure that Janet's taken care of in your absence. This one is from Sora, and it says, I want to thank everyone for making Valentine's Day so special for us. I have one from Irene, which is next Sunday. I will be visiting our sister church in Venice. I need to see my friends Dick and Barb about our mutual friend Sandy. We were all part of the UUA's Extended Family Project back in the 70s, and we still feel like family. I have one from Kay, which is, my eldest cousin is being put into the memory care against her wishes and with much dissent among some of the family. And my heart goes out to them all, and I hope for a decent and peaceful transition. And then my final is from Patrick Eaton, and he wants to thank everyone who supported and participated in the first fundraising drag queen bingo event. And I am disappointed that we missed it because I told Patrick earlier I saw pictures of Janet smiling and laughing, so I know it was fun. And we missed it yesterday, and I'm really sorry that we missed it. You guys helped raise over $1,300 for PFLAG Port Charlotte and over $300 for Array. And just showing, we talked about the amazing generosity of this small congregation, and there you go again. It's small but very mighty. And Patrick says, moving forward with love, and was also telling me when he wrote this in the Book of Life that the people that helped with this event are looking forward to planning other events because they were also very happy and thrilled with what they saw yesterday. So you guys really made a great impression. So congratulations on that. I'm going to move over to the bowl of stones. And so you're all familiar. This is Dropping of Stones. You are welcome to share a brief message with us. Or if you want to just put a stone in silence, you're welcome to do that as well.
I got word last Tuesday my son had 4 more strokes. I'm not sure what the prognosis is or what's going to happen. Anyway, I'm just hoping for the best. I hope he lives.
Okay, I'm not gonna talk about what you already heard because then I'll start bawling. And my husband is extremely private. He would kill me if he knew that I already put his name in the book. So what I want to say is about this amazing group here and the help that we get from Doug and Ryan is unreal. But these people are just incredible, and I am humbled to be a part of the group. I love you all.
And they are lucky to have you too, and don't forget it.
Well, one house sold and then unsold and hopefully sold again
Nerve-wracking.
in a week. It's kind of like a heart. Let's keep that there.
I never do this, so forgive me that I have 3. The first one is to everyone who brought or has brought or plans to bring compost, which makes my husband Bill so happy. The second one is because I'm seeing Tom here, who I don't really know, but I have to say he did a little workshop after the service once on, I believe it was called Ubuntu, singing, which was just fabulous. I wish we could do that again. It was so much fun. Don't go back to North Carolina or wherever you are now. Just stay. And this third one is from my cousin Barbara, who passed away yesterday. She was the oldest person in my family and the person who knew everything about the O'Neills. But she had a long life. She was 89. And then there's also the sadness that now I'm the oldest woman in my family.
The matriarch.
I'm putting 2 stones in. I want to mention that my 93-year-old mother is in the hospital in Colby, Kansas, a little town of 5,000, and all three of my kids went this weekend to see her. They went from New Jersey, Texas, and Colorado to visit my mother. I wish I could have been there. The second stone, I want to recognize Linda Richardson for her work with the NAACP and the meeting we had with the police department this week, or the sheriff's office, I'm sorry. And we had an ask after the meeting. The Veterans Committee was invited this time, and I'm chairman of the Veterans Committee, and the police asked us to try to see if we couldn't help. They have veterans treatment courts in other counties, and we don't have that in Charlotte County, and they want us to try to promote that.
Hello, I'm Pat, and this is Judy, my wife. And we're here celebrating our 48th year of being married.
I hope it has magic in it, and we'll reveal. I'm having a little problem with my doctor and my wife, and I'm asking if anyone here is a neurologist or knows a really good neurologist who will side on the.
No, I know a good one. I'm a primary care, but there's a very good group, Sobadash, in Sarasota, is who I highly recommend to everybody. Valery Sobadash, he's a Russian guy. He's fantastic.
Because my problem is with the traffic court, and my doctor, parenthetically, has agreed with my wife that I might have inability to drive my car temporarily, and I really do know my left from my right, and I really am cognizant, and it's really me talking to you now. But the doctor gave this other opinion. Now I'm going to talk with the doctor and explain that this is not healthy for my continuing driving, that there's a report like that. So if anyone knows a lawyer that handles traffic or mental or health or a neurologist, that is good. And maybe someone closer than Sarasota, but thank you, I'm gonna look him up.
The problem is the neurologists in Charlotte County are taking 4 to 6 months to see new patients. So
That's a
you're gonna have
problem.
to go to Sarasota.
Thank you.
I will put, we may have, I don't know, no. I will put one last stone in for me. This week I got the Bed Bath & Beyond treatment at work, which for those of you that are not familiar, it got coined that way because Bed Bath & Beyond were the first people to do this. We were called to an unexpected Zoom meeting at 5 p.m. on Tuesday where the corporate people got on for about 3 minutes, let us know that they are completely closing the Florida market and that we will all be out of jobs on March the 15th. And by the way, you need to be productive until the very last day. You will hear from HR by Friday, which I did not, and supposedly by Monday afternoon. And I already let her know that if it wasn't by Monday afternoon, they'd be hearing from a lawyer. So I have an interview with the prison in Punta Gorda for medical care there, and I have an interview with the primary care in Bradenton on Tuesday. So please, everybody, collective energy to help me get re-employed as soon as I can. And I will put our last stone in for any joy or concern that may be too tender in our heart to mention. We have a meditation followed by Spirit of Life. The meditation is going to be with Reverend Barker. Sorry.
I need a little assistance to get where I need to be. Here we are gathered, humanist and Christian, non-theist, Buddhist and Jew, pagan and seeker, a Unitarian Universalist congregation. Let us confess what we know to be true. We are quick to proclaim our faith, but slow to live the teachings of that faith as it has been handed down to us from those who would have us understand what it is to be and what it is to love the neighbor. We are quick to judge one another, but slow to act for justice, equity, and compassion in human relations. In small and large ways, we are overwhelmed by all we cannot do. For all the times we fail to affirm and promote the inherent worth and dignity of every person, when we do not affirm and promote the goal of world community with peace, liberty, and justice, we ask forgiveness of one another, and we vow to begin again in this and every moment. And I'll give you just a moment to think about ways you might need to seek forgiveness of others. And if you'll join me in the unison prayer. O God, root and soul of body and soul, we ask for boldness in confronting evil. When you are within us, we have the power to countenance all that is untrue. O Father and Mother of all humankind, may we redeem our failings by the good work that we do. In the name of the one, the only God. And if you'll join us in hymn 113. Where is our holy church?
please welcome Rev Ann Barker, who returns to our pulpit again this Sunday to enrich our lives. And she's going to be speaking on our monthly theme of justice today. And I'm going to put the block in the right place this time.
Thank you. Things are taking a little longer today, so I got really wordy about this topic, and I'm going to try to pull the sermon back a little so you can all go home for lunch. From my perspective, it was a wonderful time to grow up in the USA. I am a first-wave baby boomer, born a year after my dad returned from Europe. We and our allies had won on two fronts, the European and the Pacific. We were invincible, and to prove it, we dropped 2 atomic bombs on Japan. After the austerity of the war years, the economy began to improve as the men came back with their GI Bill that enabled them to buy homes, get an education, and begin to live the American dream. For many, that was never possible before. I grew up loved, cared for, and feeling safe and secure. As I grew up, I truly believed that every child, every person had the great life I did, with health care, plenty of food, clean water, and fine schools where excellence was encouraged. And there were community groups to foster the American way of life. My parents encouraged respect for those who were not like ourselves and permitted me to have friends from different religions and races. Okay, it was limited, but I did have a friend who was Jewish, and we played in each other's homes. And there was an African-American girl I became friends with in Girl Scouts. My parents placed me in a Roman Catholic preschool operated by the Sisters of St. Joseph, even though we were Lutherans. They didn't seem troubled that I learned the Hail Mary, and I think that may be the last prayer I pray at the time of my death. First in, last out. And became fascinated that the sisters could make their hands disappear behind their scapulars. Public school brought a new world of mysteries to be mastered. The alphabet, reading, writing, art, music, geography, and history. Learning was prized, and we were encouraged to apply ourselves. We began each day with the Pledge of Allegiance that ended with these words: one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all. I believed that was so. We were one people, not divisible by anything, and there was liberty and justice for all. Everyone had a limited opportunity to grow and develop themselves, achieve their dreams, and they were assured justice under our legal system. My school system provided polio vaccine free. I remember lining up to get our sugar cube with this life-saving miracle. Only a few children were exempted for religious reasons. No one questioned the medical community's goodwill toward us. In upper elementary school, girls lined up on Friday for their free goiter pill because the soil around Lake Erie was lacking in iodine. Twice during elementary school, we received health screenings at the school district's expense. Today, such care is not provided for many children growing up in our schools. I didn't know people did not receive these benefits because of prejudice, discrimination, and poverty. That just couldn't happen in this country. I believe provided equal opportunity for all people. I grew up mostly free of fear in my community and my world. People were good, and from those few who were not, the police would protect us. I didn't know for some children, the police were the enemy. While adults feared the bomb, I knew exactly what to do if those pesky Russians sent missiles our way. Do you remember? Duck and cover. We practiced at least once a year in school. Living in Erie, PA, in the heart of an industrial triangle including Buffalo, Cleveland, and Pittsburgh, I had no idea we, as primary targets, would be vaporized. America was the leader of the free world, and no one would dare stand against us. I participated in Girl Scouts, where, I don't know if I can do it anymore. On my honor, I will try to serve God and my country, to help people at all times, and to live by the Girl Scout law. Over the years, I learned ways to put this into action, and to sell cookies. I assumed everyone shared those same values. When I was older, I joined Rainbow Girls, governed by 3 principles: belief in a supreme being and in others, having hope in all that you do, and charity toward others. I was surrounded by a family, school system, and organizations that taught me goodness, kindness, generosity, and to care for others as I was cared for. In my teen years, I learned some painful lessons about that. I was once at a church youth gathering where I heard some absurd stories about Roman Catholics. I asked these kids where they had learned this, and they said, their pastor. My pastor would never tolerate such things. And he always said he would be happy to tell you how he disagreed with another religious group, but that intolerance, terrible stories, and hatred toward other religions was simply not the Christian thing to do. We visited a synagogue during confirmation class and knew anti-Semitism was a no-no. Now I cringe as self-proclaimed Christians engage in anger, misrepresentation, and violence against other religious groups that should feel safe in this country. How did this happen? It was very painful to learn those things as I grew older, but the real critical point came in middle age. It was one of the top 3 total humiliations I had ever experienced, and it changed my perspective on justice, equity, and the American way. I and another member of the Religious Education Committee had been invited to participate in a Native American talking circle at the Multicultural Center in Appleton, Wisconsin. Participants included Oneida, Stockbridge, Munsee, and Menominee tribal members, equally divided between men and women. A sacred stick was passed around the circle, and the person with the stick had the floor. I bristled when the leader mentioned that any woman who was in her moon time should not touch the stick, but see that it was passed over her to the next person. It was framed as the fact that at that time, women were too powerful to handle the stick. Sounded to me like a way to disempower women. So, okay, I was a big bigot and disrespectful of another culture. However, I was able to open my heart and listen to stories of shame, humiliation, discrimination, and subsequent mental health and alcoholism experienced by Native people. The real punch in the gut came when two women, my exact age, spoke of their experiences in Native American residential schools. When I was living in a loving family, attending a good school, and practicing my religion in freedom, something else was happening to them. They were forcibly removed from their families, had their names changed from their native name to an English one, and were told they were dirty and lice-ridden. Their native language was forbidden. Religious practices were squashed in favor of Christianity, and they saw their families only during a brief summer vacation. They were subjected to verbal, physical, and sexual abuse. When the meeting closed and everybody else retired for refreshments, I quickly headed for the ladies' room to be sick, really, really sick. Such things could not happen in my America. In my lifetime, I have experienced many such experiences, and they still keep coming. I'm going to skip over some of the things I saw as a child in regard to race relations in this country. I'm sure all of you remember them. Recently, I learned from religious sisters that poor black children in Mississippi are still being mistreated and deprived of the opportunity to learn and grow into healthy, well-educated adults. They routinely suffer corporal punishment, and there was one little girl, they told the sisters, they just smacked her around at the beginning of the day before she could do anything. That would maybe stop her bad behavior. These children had no school books, supplies, or any other tool of learning. How could this be? There was the day I called my granddaughter who was home due to the pandemic. I told her she needed to turn on the television because something was happening in Washington, D.C. that none of us ever thought possible. Americans were storming the Capitol, seeking to disrupt the lawful certifying of the election results and seeking to harm members of Congress and the Vice President of the United States. Who was egging them on? The President. Was this really America? I could go on, but I think you understand my dilemma. The ideals, values, and expectations with which I grew up in post-World War II America are not and never were true. Our society is riddled with anger, discrimination, violence, and absurd ideas about the other, whoever that is perceived to be. America is not indivisible, but highly polarized. We still have legislators who are, for the most part, white males. Women and other minorities are beginning to carve a place in politics and government, but they have a long way to go. Every morning I watch the CBC News, where I have learned how much more advanced Canada seems to be in many ways. The broadcasters, political figures, and stories are much more diverse. There are a number of Sikhs in their parliament. A First Nation person was just elected premier of Manitoba. And interestingly, most broadcasts are not only racially and culturally diverse, they are far less sleek and well-dressed than our newscasters. I can relate to them. They look a lot like me. And they watch the U.S. very carefully and report on our major stories in depth. That's how I learn what's going on in my country. They have covered the wars in Ukraine and in the Middle East regularly and thoroughly. Weekly, there is a panel discussion with a moderator and 3 prominent Canadian journalists. In answer to the question, what will be the impact on Canada if Donald Trump is elected US president, the French-Canadian woman responded, "Well, we don't know, but it won't be anything good." In turn, each of the others responded in the negative to a second term for Trump. They were concerned not with the impact on America, but how this would affect Canada and the rest of the world. We're not encouraged to think about that when we step into the voting booth. I am saddened and discouraged that the vision of this country with which I grew up, however myopic it was, is not a reality in our 20th century world. It is clearly more violent, prejudiced, and lacking in opportunities than ever before. I'm going to skip down a little bit. And I have one more thought about what I was taught and what I am now experiencing. My undergraduate degree is in human services / gerontology. That was my specialty. In school, studying the physical, social, and psychological aspects of aging, we were presented with a wonderful picture of aging. After all, there was an expansive range of compensations to physical aging, such as medications, hearing aids, vision correction, and social supports. As professionals, we would help older adults access these services so they could live full and happy lives. No one told us that there are many things Medicare does not cover. There are copays out of the reach of many people. You heard that finding a doctor in Florida with such a huge elderly population can be a real trial. Many more people are living to ages once considered remarkable, but often there is not enough resource in their life to make it a wonderful life. So I find myself struggling with disillusionment and deep sadness. My country is not all I thought it would be. Simple courtesy, decency, and fairness are lacking in many ways I find deeply distressing. I thought moving to Florida would be settling in paradise. It's what my brother and sister told me. I didn't know they disliked me that much. Instead, I find I stay at home most of the time, content to do my housekeeping and sit in the garden room and read mysteries ad nauseum. I don't want to be out with the traffic, the sickness being spread. Ask my wife about COVID, still prevalent, and they receive a lot of COVID patients. A family crisis a year ago put my carefully worked out theories about life and death to the test in a way I never want to see repeated. I hope I have not bored you into catatonia with my story, but my suspicion is many of you had similar experiences. You too may have grown up with the same values and expectations of life in the 20th century and thought it would continue throughout your life. It's almost a quarter century into the new millennium, and the unthinkable is now reality. How are we to cope with this, make sense of, and try to change what is happening to us and our country? I must now tell you, I don't know. The task seems monumental, but I do have a few ideas. Laura, could you hold up your tote bag? This is the next part of my sermon, all on a tote bag. about the ways we can make changes in our society, and I know this congregation is deeply committed to justice and equity for all. For me, the most important part of justice and equity is equity. You know the cartoon with 3 boys trying to see a baseball game over the fence? On the left is the tall one, who can see just fine. The one in the middle is struggling to see and needs some help. The boy on the right is short and can't see at all. There are 3 boxes nearby. Equality implies that each boy would get one of those boxes. Then that would be fair for everybody. But you know that's not going to work. So the tallest boy gets no box. The middle boy gets 1 box, and the third boy gets 2 boxes. Now they can all see. How can we individually promote extra assistance to those most in need of help? And are we willing to pay for it? I'm, again, going to skip part of my sermon because I know this congregation is already so involved in so many issues that impact our world. Keep going. Find a few more if you have the energy. Can we make America greater than ever by returning to the values of the past and actually implementing them in our own lives? Do we have the energy to again dream the impossible dream of making this country what our ancestors created it to be? A place of justice and equity for all. And I do mean all. Let it be so.
Coming from the other end of Lake Erie, many years after you, I grew up with the same values in a Roman Catholic family. And I think it comes down to people not willing to make a sacrifice for the good of all. We have no common decency anymore. We will do our offering now. As you all know, all of our love and goodwill is wonderful, but we rely on the generosity of each and every one of you to keep the doors open and keep the lights on here at UUFCC. And for that, we appreciate you. I'm going to make our life of the community brief today as we're running over a little bit. To let you know that, as always, MJ put a nice listing of the events this week of UUFCC for your review on the back of the program. From the art committee, we need your artwork, and they want you to bring this here this week, Friday at 10 a.m., or speak to Trudy or Tom to make arrangements. From MJ, all annual reports are due in the office in Word or text format by March 1st in preparation for the annual meeting. From the UU Social Justice Alliance, there is the Right to Read Festival, All Books for All People, and that's February 24th, which is a Saturday from 10 a.m. to 4 p.m., which I believe is next Saturday. And that is at the Venice Congregation on Pinebrook Road, and there are several speakers. We have flyers. I will put this out so that people can view that. And from Dennis, I have a note that at noon today, there will be a celebration of life for Ellen McGill in the sanctuary. And following the service, despite the rain, her ashes will be scattered in the Peace Garden. And Dennis assures me there are umbrellas available. And none of us are that sweet that we will melt in this rain. And then the final Life of the Community thing I have for you today is the lunch bunch today is going to go to Curry and Kebab, and that is on Tamiami Trail over by Fawcett Hospital. So anyone that wants to join us, feel free. We will extinguish our chalice. So our extinguished words are from Cynthia Landrum. We leave this gathered community, but we don't leave our connection, our concerns, our care for each other, our service to each other, to the world, and to our faith continues. Until we are together again, friends, be strong, be well, be true, and be loving. May it be so. And to keep with tradition, we extinguish this chalice, but not the light of hope, the fire of commitment, or the warmth of community. May those ideals shine in our lives and warm our hearts until we are together again. Go now in peace. I thank everybody for their patience. We went over a little bit, but everybody's been most patient. Our closing hymn will be 1018, Come Go With Me. Okay. Was the meat. somebody found a set of keys on the floor. They're on a green ring. Oh, there you, okay.